Let's have a session on efficiency. So in this video, we're going to look at three things. Firstly, we're going to look at the importance of increasing efficiency. The second thing is the solutions to increasing efficiency. And the third thing is the drawbacks to those solutions. We'll start with efficiency in terms of its definition. And that is production is maximised based on a given set of factors of production. Now, factors of production, you're thinking sell, because they are capital, enterprise, land, labour. They are the four factors of production. Efficiency is when you have maximised all of those for a given set of capital, land, labour and enterprise. Now, very much related to efficiency is labour productivity. Labour productivity clearly is just looking at one of those factors of production. Labour productivity, therefore, is looking at the efficiency of labour, just the one of those factors of production. Likewise, capital productivity is looking at the efficiency of one of those factors of production, and obviously that's capital. Now, both of these have formula. Labour productivity is total output divided by total employees. And on the other side, capital productivity, you could argue, is revenue divided by non-current assets or fixed assets. Now, the first thing to look at is the importance of increasing efficiency. And if you manage to increase your efficiency because you have maximised production for the given set of factors of production, then that is going to lead to you reducing your average cost per unit. And if you reduce your average cost per unit, then that will have added benefits. The first is that you could reduce your selling price. And if you reduce your selling price, it's likely to increase your demand. Increase your demand, meaning higher sales. And if your product is estimated to have an elastic price elasticity of demand, that will lead to higher revenue. Alternatively, you could, rather than reduce your selling price, you could leave your selling price where it is after you have reduced your cost per unit. And if you manage to do that, then obviously your profit margin per unit will now be higher because your costs are slightly lower. And it would assume, because you've left your selling price unchanged, that your demand would be unchanged. And that would lead to higher profits. Alternatively, if you maintain your selling price after you've managed to get these efficiency gains, being the lower average cost per unit, then you could do other things with these efficiency gains. You could look to improve the quality of your products, maybe more raw materials, better components, and that could lead to a better reputation and more added value. It could have knock-on effects to brand loyalty. Or you could look to use those efficiency gains to increase the wages of your labour, make them more motivated, and arguably that could increase your labour productivity. Now, the next thing to look at is the solutions to increasing your efficiency. And when we do this, we think about the factors of production. So firstly, we could think about labour. So it could be for those workers, that labour, as you look to increase the education and training that you give to them. That would make them more skilled, and it would lead to, in an operational sense, less defects, less waste, which is clearly a good thing. On top of that, if you provide the labour, the workers with training and education, they may be more motivated as a result, and it would increase labour productivity. Additionally, you could adopt a different management style to the particular labour. Maybe you become more laissez-faire, maybe you become more autocratic for certain situations, and that could lead to higher labour productivity. The next factor of production, capital, you could look to increase investment in machines, in technology, in automation, and that would support the labour and help the labour be more productive, therefore increasing labour productivity. Additionally, it would increase capital productivity, possibly if you have better technology. Thirdly, enterprise, you could think about increasing your output to achieve economies of scale. More details on economies of scale, click the card up there. The third thing to think about is the efficiency solution drawback. So if we look back at these, the first one, labour. Well, labour clearly, if you do training and education, it's the cost of that training. And does that offset the gains from the increased labour productivity? It's something you might want to debate or evaluate in an essay. Next thing is higher labour productivity will result in workers asking for possibly higher wages because they say we're more productive now, we want higher wages, and that's going to ultimately lead to higher costs. Additionally, any training in education, there may be some sort of resistance that happens because of that. And for that, you might want to link it to Cotter. See the card up there. Capital, investment costs. Well, if you get new machinery, new technology, new automation, you need to pay for it. And the added gains that you get from that, are they going to be offset by the cost of getting it? So you need to debate that. Is there finance available to pay for this machinery? In the case of automation, it could be incredibly expensive to get that. Does it make sense given the size of the business and the finances available to them? Would there be resistance from the stakeholders, particularly shareholders, if they do that? Because it might mean in the short term they will have to absorb lower dividends as this new automation or capital is paid for. But it could lead to, in the long term, higher profits. Are they willing to take that on? Is there, again, resistance there? And the third thing is enterprise, because it could be that you look to increase output to achieve these higher economies of scale, but does a demand exist for the higher output that comes with economies of scale? With the higher output, is there demand for it? Because if there's not, then there's waste. And waste means inefficiency, not efficiency. And additionally, too much output could lead to diseconomies of scale. And again, for that, see the card up there. So I hope that helps with efficiency, and I'll see you at the next sesh.